People are actually calling you the national crush.
Yeah.
How do you take that?
I'm very happy about it, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be? The story needs to be told, and even if I do it for free, I would do it for anything. Like, and there were still people who said, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't put all your eggs in one basket." I said, "Let me put all my eggs in one basket because I have full faith in this story." I was like, "Okay, it'll do well." I knew that the film would do well, but then I was not. I mean, I thought, okay, some people might notice it, some people might not. But then I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting so many people to connect with Zoya and to, they're discussing the scene online and talking about it. And it just feels so special. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling.
Lot of debate happening around Animal, especially that shoe scene.
Yeah.
Did you anticipate that?
Obviously. I mean, especially because I've done films like Bulbull and Qala. I was like, this is gonna come, these questions are going to be asked. Like, even when I was doing Bulbul, the rape scene that happened, people had issues with that scene. People had issues with Qala's suicide scene or the scene that she has on the terrace. Yeah. Sometimes you have to agree to something you don't believe in, but because you're that character and you have to be honest. But what was exciting was that he said that, how when you're into acting and you think of playing negative characters, you have an idea of how you're going to play it, and on your face I only want to see vulnerability, innocence and love. That was exciting and challenging at the same time, and I said, okay, it's interesting.
He's not exactly Zoya in real life.
I wouldn't go and lick someone's boot, like.
Exactly. They say that you need to work really hard to acquire a position in this world of glitz and glamour. And today I have somebody who's worked her way so hard that finally she's got what she truly deserves. There would be many who might have said no to this role, but believe me, when Tripti comes on screen in Animal, everybody loses their heart. I do too. And today on Pathbreakers 2023 on Galatta India, joining me is Tripti herself. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
I am so happy that we are doing this, and this is one of my first conversations. I remember meeting you for the first time when I was in that print office when I used to work for a newspaper, and I saw you as this vulnerable person, anxious about what is going to be asked.
Yeah, I remember. I used to run away from people. No.
Is it the same yet?
Not the same. I mean, now I'm more comfortable and confident than I was before. You know, I mean, you've seen me then and you're seeing me now. But yeah, initially it was a big challenge. I had to write down questions and answers and then forget them the next day.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I've always been an introvert. Like, I've always been the quiet kid. So from there to come to films, and then films was also fine because you're hiding behind a character. That is fine.
True.
Going out there in the world and talking to people and letting out information about yourself, it was a bit of a task initially.
But Tripti, the appreciation that you've received for Animal, it's like humongous. Yeah. Did you anticipate that?
Not really. I mean, I was like, okay, it'll do well. I knew that the film would do well, but then I was not. I mean, I thought, okay, some people might notice it, some people might not. I was like, people who've seen Bulbull and Qala might, watch the film and be happy about me being a part of Animal. But then I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting so many people to connect with Zoya and to, they're discussing the scene online and talking about it. And it just feels so special. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling.
People are actually calling you the national crush.
Yeah.
How do you take that?
I'm very happy about it, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be? And I mean, a lot of people have been, my phone has been, ringing constantly. Not just mine, my sisters, my brothers, my friends. Everybody's like, if our phones are like this, then we wonder what's happening with yours. And I've been having sleepless nights. I mean, I don't think I've slept properly in the last 1 week.
But it's good.
It's good. It's a good sleepless nights.
What was your first reaction when Sandeep actually came to you with Zoya's role? Did you have any idea about what was happening?
No.
Because Bobby Deol told me that he only knew what was his part.
Even I knew only what I was doing in the film. And the first time he told me, like he told me what I'm going to be doing in the film, and then he said that, honestly, I'm going to tell you that it's not a meaty role. It's a small. You're playing a small part in the film, and it's a negative role. But what was exciting was that he said that, you know how when you're into acting and you think of playing negative characters, you have an idea of how you're going to play it. If you give me, say you have to play a righteous person on screen, so I have an idea of how I'm going to play that.
Yeah.
Same way, if someone tells me you're playing a vamp in a show or in a film, somewhere I know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to react. So that way, I knew what, okay, okay, negative. And then he said, no, it's a negative character. You're coming with a motive. But I want you to keep the motive inside. And on your face, I only want to see vulnerability, innocence, and love. So that was exciting and challenging at the same time. And I said, okay, it's interesting.
You know, the fact that he said that and he mentioned vulnerability, love, and emotions on your face, I think it came across. That's why you're getting so much love.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the character, it's also how you portray those emotions. The vulnerabilities actually, you essayed those vulnerabilities very nicely through your eyes, which is, and you had very limited dialogues. It was only the confrontation where you come and speak, but before that also we could see everything that was happening. I want to ask you, did you never feel apprehensive before taking it up, because he only came and told you that it's a small role?
Not really, because I've seen actors. Yeah, if Meryl Streep can do it, who are you?
Absolutely.
I mean, you learn these things from your idols, and she's one actor who I love, and there's so many other actors who do it. I mean, if the part is interesting, they don't mind being a part of the story, even if they're there only for 5 minutes. We have so many examples. So why not? I mean, see what this part has done for me.
Absolutely.
You don't know what clicks with the audience, so you just have to go with your gut feeling. And if something is offered to you that feels special, that feels like, I have to do it. Let's see. When he offered me the role, I wasn't thinking कि अच्छा ये करने के बाद क्या हो जाएगा, life will change, la 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 la. No, I wasn't expecting it.
Exactly.
एक दिन पहले भी, I was like, this is interesting. I will know whether I will be able to pull it off or not. So that was the motivation, and then things happened. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do, what excites you.
There's this beautiful interview that Priyanka Chopra had once done a few years ago, where she came and said that there was a film that she wanted to make and she couldn't make because people were not aligning their dates and they were insecure that, oh, this this one will get more time, etc., etc. She said something wonderful, that in Hollywood, people come and do 8-minute parts.
Yeah.
Like stars come and do 8-minute parts and they walk away with all the fame and glory. Do you feel that actors here don't really do that?
I don't think you are offered those roles, because people, look at you a certain way and they don't come to you with those roles. Vicky Kaushal is doing it.
Yeah.
You've
Donkey.
seen him in so many films doing small parts, and even though he's a big star today, he still chooses to do those projects because, somewhere he feels that it is exciting and it'll be good to, be that character. And I think it should change slowly. People should start looking at acting as acting and not as, a medium to be someone or become this huge personality. And I think the day that changes,
absolutely,
a lot of things will change, because I honestly want to be in that space where if something excites me, I don't want to see whether the part is big or small. I want to do it.
But look at what this movie has done to you as a person. I feel like you were fantastic in Laila Majnu.
Thank you.
I think you were brilliant in Bulbull. I think you are extremely good in Qala. But despite doing lead roles and despite getting that love, the reciprocation came with a film like Animal, where they said that you have a small role. But imagine what it has done. I think your following has hit the roof. I think you had some 3-point-something million. By the time this interview comes out, you will be at some other number.
At 3 point something, I didn't check. Last I checked was 3.
3, so 3. But by the time it comes out, it will be like something else only, because the way it's... No, I'm very happy for you, because the first time I met you also, I told you that there's something in you, you're made for it, right?
I hope so, yeah.
Do you feel validated today?
I do, and I think the validation definitely comes from the numbers. I mean, you're always looking for that as an actor. You somewhere,
Yeah.
even though you don't want to, you talk to yourself and you're like, no, 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 this is not important, but it is somewhere important, right? When I did Laila Majnu, matlab, I was so excited that every day I went in, theatre mein, I'll look at myself and nobody would recognize me also outside. And I did feel discouraged and I did feel like demotivated and sad, obviously. But then now today, if you see, 5 years mein, every single day I've got a message for Laila Majnu. So that is so important because then you're like, whatever hard work you've put in that project, whatever, you
Yeah.
have to, as an actor, you have to go through so many emotions in a day. Like, one day you have a scene where you're laughing, another moment you're crying, another moment you're getting upset at someone, and you have to actually feel all those things. So you're literally,
True.
playing with your mind. It can, really tick you off if you don't work on yourself. And, you're doing all of that, and if that people don't, appreciate it, then you do feel bad.
As an artist, it's very difficult to deal with those days,
Yeah.
Like I feel that when if there's a week or 10 days of like no work, no interviews, eventually we'll get our salaries.
Yeah.
But what makes me
Happy.
upset is that I'm not working or I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And I feel that comes with actors even more because it's so uncertain sometimes.
Yeah.
And especially you guys were so good, the movie was so loved, but it didn't work the way you would have expected it to
Yeah,
work for you, right? Like the way it is working for you right now.
Yeah.
If it would have worked for you, things would have been different, right?
Different, yeah.
How did you deal with those days? Were there days where you were vulnerable and you were emotionally low?
Yeah, there were many days where I was like, am I doing the right thing? Because honestly, till Laila Majnu, I was not in love with acting. I was doing it because I got the part and I was decent with it. I didn't know ABCD of acting, honestly. It's after Laila Majnu that Avinash only suggested that I do this acting workshop, which I had a lot of time to do. So I said, okay, I'll do this. And I went in for the workshop. And that is where I was like, ये होती है acting. मतलब this is what acting is. You get to know yourself. Till then, you don't ask yourself those questions that you're supposed to ask yourself as a person, because they say that if you want to be a good actor, you've got to be honest with the characters, and if you're not honest with yourself, how will you be honest with the characters that you play? If you don't know who you are as a person, how will you differentiate yourself with the character you're playing on screen? So I think everyone should do an acting class because it just opens you up as a person. It you ask so many questions to yourself, you find so many answers, and it is overwhelming. Like there was a point where I was like, so the initial stages where you feel like overwhelmed and you're like, oh god, so many years and I didn't ask myself these questions. What was I doing? Like what? And then there comes a stage where you're like, I know it all. That stage also comes where everybody who I was talking to, I was like, what do you know about acting? I've done an acting class. So that stage also comes. And then you have to, there comes a stage where you're like, arey yaar. I mean, there's still a lot more that you have to learn. It's not just about knowing the craft, it's about so many other things. When you're on set, my god, a lot of things happen when you're on set. Like
That's true.
I mean, there are scenes where you have to go and cry, and then there are 10 people touching you, and they're just doing their job. They're fixing your outfit, they're putting makeup on, they're doing your hair, but you have to imagine if you're crying and somebody's touching you. So, and you have to keep all of it out of your zone. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to be in a zone and you have to really concentrate, and it takes a lot of practice. So, initially, yeah, that is when I fell in love with acting, I would say, after the acting classes. And since then, I've never looked back. But there were days where I was like, what do I do now? Acting class bhi kar li. Then I was auditioning, yes. I would go to Andheri every single day. Auto rickshaw mein baith ke, Bandra mein hi rehti thi. I would go to Aramnagar. There's this restaurant, Shriji's. In that building, there used to be second floor pe, third floor pe, bahut auditions hote the. So I would go there every single day and audition for TVCs, TV serials, anything. And I would get selected for one or two, but that would look after my rent and everything. But then I was like losing motivation to, keep going at it. And because I come from a middle class family, it's not like, and my family was like, if at all you're in a problem, you come back. You're not staying there and, suffering. So that stopped me from telling my parents that I don't have money. That,
Yeah.
I'm struggling here and I don't have a place to stay. I couldn't tell my parents. I remember, luckily my agency had the agency that I was working with that time had a, model's apartment, and I was asked to, they were like, they were nice to me. They were like, you can stay here for free, luckily. So rent was taken care of. And after that, again, 2 years was just auditions and nothing. Auditions and nothing. Which is when Bulbull Ka audition was happening, and I was like, okay, let me go give it a try. And everybody was like, you've just given a theatrical, are you sure you want to get into this OTT space, because it'll be completely different from what you've done, and you might be categorized.
Yeah.
They will typecast you and this and that. I said, let me just audition. And I'm sure they were coming from a, they were just there to they thought,
wish you well.
Yeah, they were well wishers. But then I went and auditioned. Even then I was like, okay, it was just like a normal audition, because what do you know from a scene? You don't, right? You can't judge a story by just reading one scene. It's when I met Anvita and she narrated the whole story to me, is when I was like, this story needs to be told. And even if I do it for free, I would do it for anything. And there were still people who said, don't do it, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I said, let me put all my eggs in one basket, because I have full faith in this story. And even after Bulbull, Bulbull took 1.5 years from shoot to release. Even then there were days where you would be like, ab kar to liya, but it's a risk you're taking, right? It can either go, I wish like it can either go right and everything will be sorted for me, and it can either go terribly
Really wrong, yeah.
and I would be left with nothing. So that was something that bothered me a lot.
Everybody in the industry or in the media, they praised you for all the projects that you've done.
Yeah.
Despite that, when you were not getting those big films that you deserved, did that pinch you ever?
It does pinch you. I mean, yeah, it did pinch me. But I was like, I'm a strong believer of the fact that what's meant for you is meant for you, and it'll never leave you. So I was not supposed to audition for Laila Majnu. I just landed up there at the audition. And I got the part. So it was meant for me. Nobody else could have, gotten that role. So that same way, I feel if it's not meant for me, nobody can, give me that. And if it is for me, nobody can take it away from me. And that kind of, helps me calm down.
You're working with Vicky and Rajkumar.
Yeah.
And both have spoken about their Shriji stories, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Both used to, that's why that reaction came. And both have spoken about how badly they have been rejected for maybe the way they look or whatever.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing that was told to you? Because when you go for auditions, a lot of people actually get discouraged and demotivated because of the way they are told things.
I was told, your eyes don't work. You have to do something about your eyes. What? That's what I was told. But I was bad then. I can't deny that. I didn't know acting. I was one told by a casting director that, oh, there's something wrong with your eyes. You can't emote with your eyes. So maybe I took it up as a challenge. Maybe that's what helped me.
Look at animal. It's the eyes. It's the eyes from the word go. But there's one film that you've done which is Bulbull, and it's such an iconic film because it sets great social precedents, right?
Yeah.
But every movie can't be that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate happening around animal, especially that shoe scene.
Yeah.
Did you anticipate that? And
Obviously. I mean, especially because I've done films like Bulbull and Qala. I was like, this is going to come. These questions are going to be asked. And, I'm an actor who believes that the day you sign a project, you have to believe in the character from that very day. Because, my process with Anvita has also been like that.
Yeah.
That you build a character's life from the age of 5. from the time a person gains consciousness. So you have to know your character as well as you know yourself, because you have to know what your character likes, what your character hates, what are the kind of thoughts your character is occupied with. Because if you don't know all of those questions, then answers, then how are you going to build a connection between
True.
you and the character, and how are you going to be truthful when the character is crying in the film? What are you crying for? Are you crying because, so initially I used to do that, I used to use my personal experiences to cry in a scene. But then after a point, you exhaust those memories. Those memories stop
True.
working for you, and you start feeling empty as a person. You're like, why am I not feeling sad about this situation? I mean, it was so traumatic. But then you've used it so many times that it has no meaning left in your life anymore. And you don't want to do that to yourself to act on screen, right? So you have to kind of understand the pain your character is going through, and the relationships your character has. You have to look at your character as a human being.
True.
I mean, every person has a good, bad, or a dark side. Same way, every character you play has a good, bad, or a dark side. Some days you will be asked to portray the good side, some days you will be asked to portray the bad side. But it is your job to portray it with full honesty, right?
Absolutely.
And that is what I feel, and that is what I do with every character that is given to me. Like, even when I was doing Bulbull, the rape scene that happened, people had issues with that scene. People had issues with Kala's suicide scene, or the scene that she has on the terrace.
Yeah.
I was like, but if you start thinking of signing a project, if you start thinking of these things while signing a project, then you'll end up with nothing. And people, they don't know the struggles, they don't know what an actor who's in living away from the family goes through on a daily basis. There's so many challenges that you have to overcome. There are so many questions in your head, even when you're signing a project, even when you're doing it every single day, you're occupied with so many things, and it is taxing and it is difficult. Sometimes you have to make a difficult choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to agree to something you don't believe in, but because you're that character and you have to be honest.
I believe, do I feel that there were scenes that were problematic to me as a human being? Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with those scenes.
Yeah.
But if I look at it from a point of view that it's a character who's playing it, I just feel like sometimes the criticism comes in a way where, like, why are these films being made? This is like promoting this, promoting that. There was a film like Swades being made, right?
Yeah.
How many people were actually Mohan Bhargavs after Swades? I just feel like, I'm not demeaning their fight.
Yeah.
At the same time, I have to be honest to what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Of course, there are point of things that I don't agree with when it comes to Ranbir's character.
Yeah.
But it's is the character.
And honestly, I've said this enough, we need to humanize our characters. Why can't a hero be bad?
He anyway plays an anti-hero.
You as a person, you have a good side.
Yeah.
You know when you're bad. You know when you're doing something that is wrong. But you do it because in that moment, you justify it somehow in your head, right? Similarly, your character is a human, your hero is a human being, your heroine is a human being. They can be doing, it's like how, you look at your moms and you want them to do everything right. The day they make one mistake and they don't do one thing that is not right according to you, you start judging them that, how can you do this? You're a mom.
But do you think it wouldn't have been a chatter if it was, suppose you were the villain, right? If you were in that power of position, if it was a lady in the power of position and made a guy do the same scene, like if the girl asked the guy to lick the shoe, do you think it wouldn't have brought out such radical...
There would be different conversations then. Like when I did Bulbull, there were conversations around the rape scene that, why is this scene there in the film? Like, why are you promoting...
this idea.
Why are you promoting suicide? Like, many people are getting disturbed, and what if they take the step? But it's
a reflection
what the
of society
is doing, and it's what people do in life. There are people who do things, and it's their story. It's not my story. I have played those characters, and I can disconnect myself from those characters. So as a viewer, if you're watching something, how do you get so influenced? Like, what's your responsibility as a human being? Tomorrow, if I watch someone, murdering somebody on the screen, doesn't mean I'll go home and
You'll be
back
okay with somebody
planning.
murdering in front of you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, I mean, I am a smart person. I would say.
Absolutely.
I know what's right and what's wrong. And if some people are if it affects you, yes, there are things that can irk you, there are things that might disturb you, but you can pick and choose your content. Right?
Yeah, basically Ranvijay is Ranvijay and he's not Ranbir.
He's not Ranbir.
Tripti is Tripti and Tripti is not exactly Zoya in
I
real life.
wouldn't go and lick someone's boot like.
Exactly. Exactly.
But Zoya would do that.
Yeah, exactly. There's one thing that I didn't agree with at all was the fact that he cheated in the relationship.
Yeah.
How would you react as a human being or as a person if that happened to you? Like,
I would not forgive the person. Why would I forgive? Cheating is something that I cannot take, and I would not forgive the person. It's over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, you know, we saw the ending of Animal, right? So of
Plugging
course,
it in.
of course, there is something big in the pipeline. And we have seen you in that scene. So of course, you will be a continued character. Are there plans? Has Sandeep bounced this idea of what was the whole idea told to you when he was actually shooting it with you? Because Bobby sir told me that Bobby sir had no clue till he watched the movie that there was a scene like this.
So we were called, we were done with the shoot. I was done with the shoot, and then one day I get a call that there's one more sequence that he needs to shoot with you. I said okay, and I went on set and he explained that this is the sequence that we are doing. I said okay, but then even then I was like, even then he didn't tell us that this is how, like, he's planning to do another, sequel of the film. Nothing. Even today I don't know. So you're meeting him, na? Ask him that.
But would you love to be a part of that?
Obviously, why won't I?
I've also heard that you're doing another film with him, isn't it? With Prabhas?
No, that's not happening.
Are you
it's
sure?
Fake news.
Are you sure?
100%.
If it happens, Tripti.
I'm 100% sure.
Don't say that. Don't say that. What if it happens? Let's manifest it, no?
Let's
If it's
manifest
not
it.
happening as of now, it should happen.
happen.
Big things should come your way. And there are 2 more films that are coming up. How has it been shooting with Vicky and Rajkumar?
Rajkumar I haven't shot with yet. We have to start shoot next year. But with Vicky, it's been amazing. Yeah, he's a very fun-loving person in real life as well. I mean, his characters are always like that. In real life, he's like a proper Punjabi guy, and he's very sweet, very giving as a co-actor. Very, he makes sure that his co-actors are comfortable and, yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
This has been a path-breaking year for you.
Thank
and I
you.
wish you many more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Tripti Dimri and you're watching me on Galatta India. Please like, share and subscribe.